that the design/build fire hall project be awarded to, and the fire hall project including or excluding the fourth bay. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Ron.
I had a hard time, I was trying to look at these floor plans, and I was using a magnifying glass to try to read it, it's so small. And even within, I had a hard time to figure out what all those little squares represented in those floor plans. And I couldn't read everything, even with my magnifying glass. But I noticed Lignum Builders, they made a proposal here a couple of months back. That price, from what they I know it wasn't an official bid back then, but from what it was that I see in here, and my memory is several $100,000 difference. And I just wondered why.
So that would just be as a result of the RFP.
What we had asked for,
What
they
we
didn't-
asked for specifically.
That's what I assumed, but I wasn't sure. So it's what we asked for to create a higher price because we had more specs in here, okay?
Would you like Brent to talk to you about that?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I don't know what the extra specs were, that's.
Yeah, so originally in our price,
You won't come up?
originally in our price, we didn't have the removal and disposal of the existing building. And we also didn't have to carry a geotech and do surveys for the ground, so that's, the removal and disposal of the building was $1,500,000.
Okay, that's what it
So,
was.
yeah,
That's about basically what it was, just those couple items?
yeah, there's a few more in the spec, but yeah, it was exactly what was spec, so. In like, just even the removal of the building, then repaving that whole area, it's a big cost, so.
You didn't have the paving covered in the first?
We had the paving covered,
But
just
not
not in
for
that
that
specific
area.
area, in that footprint here.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, Bob, sorry.
It's all right. My arm isn't sure. Well, I'll put up a flag. Well, I think really, I'm not really, well, personally, I'm not greatly concerned about what the floor plans show. Yeah, I needed a magnifying glass too, and even then it was a struggle. It doesn't really matter. They both, I think we could actually come down to, we should sort out that there's really only 2 of the 4 proposals that are significantly worth considering. They both meet the square footage that council defined. So how they go together, it's really just irrelevant to me. So really, so am I right in saying that we should be looking at just 2 of them and considering who we want? And whether we want it, and then we have to have the discussion about the fourth bay. And I think that should come before we talk about anything else. That's just me. Thank you.
Councilor Ken.
I agree with Bob, what he's saying. One of the concerns I have is this is a lot of information to digest in 2 days. I think we should take our time on this. It's a very big decision, big move for the town, big decision for council. And I think we should have a sort of a setup like we had with the OPP, to have a contact person to send questions in and then get the answers back to us. So if I ask a question today and we make a decision today, then questions are going to come out of that which I can't ask because it'll be over. And I don't see the big deal in waiting till the next regular meeting or a special meeting before the regular meeting. Then we can have our questions in and we'll answer this, solve this problem quickly. Because Bob's is right, that's a big question. Are we going to have a 3-bay or 4-bay?
Councilor Bill.
Yeah, when you look at the proposals there, okay, I had a couple concerns when I looked at the 2, I'll call it the 2 primary bidders, okay, the 2 that are very competitive in price and pretty well satisfy most aspects of the job. For one of them there, I had a concern that the bay size was a little bit skimpy, okay, and relative to getting around the trucks and stuff. And on the training size, the other bidder, the training area was, I thought, a little bit on the low side, which is around 660 square feet, give or take a little bit, okay? And if we elect to go with a
a fourth bay now, that sort of, I think, solves a lot of the issues that go with the two bids, where I found some deficiencies in them. If we did make the decision today, okay, on a fourth bay, that's reasonable, okay. Not that we'd have to make the decision, but before we, one of the bids is better for the future if we don't go with a fourth bay, because it's easily converted. A fourth bay, I think, is more easily added to it. But that's just my quick assessment of that. But both bids, I think, can easily be adjusted there in the spacing there. Like the one bid had a smaller training area, but they had a lot more apparatus area. They could adjust the apparatus bay a little wee bit in length and provide a little more training area. So I agree we should not make a final decision there. One of the things we didn't get was what the fourth truck gets us in water. Okay, it's just a general statement, but I still haven't seen anything that tells me if I gotta travel 6 minutes to a hydrant or 9 minutes, what a fourth truck, what a third vehicle, a fourth bay will get us in water, actual water going on to a typical fire. And I think we should, you can do some logistics on that, and you can come up with a number that'll give us an idea what that is.
Councillor Rick?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I was looking at the prints as well as everyone else, and I did notice there is no identifying measurements or anything of that nature. I'm just wondering if it's possible to get just the print, like the schematic itself.
Floor plan?
Yes, sent to council, and with the measurements though. I mean, I see no measurements, can't even see it with a magnifying glass, or at least I can't make it out. And there's some that don't have any, period. Yes, and some of those training centers, like Councillor Foster was saying, seem small. But I'm in full agreement that I don't think we should rush into this. I believe we should look at this very carefully and come up with the right fit for the fire hall. Another thing, if I can remember, was there any other bids on this? I thought I saw something in the...
There was 4 that we looked.
Well, I see there's 4 that we took. Was there any other that showed up, that came in?
I don't know.
No, they're all there.
They're all there? Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were just going through, just take a look, these were not rational or whatever. So you don't have to be upset about it. I was just asking a question.
I'm not upset, I'm just
Oh,
saying they're all
okay.
there.
Okay, good enough. Okay, I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Councillor Brown?
I agree with Councillor Bill over there. For some spaces, I think we could have had a little more. And like I said, I was trying to read all those little squares in kind of the office section, I guess we'll call it, of it. And I'm trying to define what all of them were, and I can't even with a magnifying glass. If we could get this blown up like Councillor Dufour said, so I could read all those, like I see kitchen and office, they're big enough in office, then I get down there and I think it's admin, and I can't read what's beside it, and lobby, and then there's a little square behind the lobby. I'm assuming that's a desk portion for a receptionist, but I had a really hard time. It was blown up, I could see it a little better.
Councillor Brown?
So I think we're starting to try and micromanage again. How big for an office and how many square foot for this. Council defined how many square foot the building overall should be. As I understand all these requests for proposals, and in particular the 2 that stand out that I think are going to be the ones we consider in the end, these are proposals, and in the end, the town will take the total square footage these guys have offered us, and we can fine-tune, if you like, the interior of the building, for lack of a better way to put it. And that, but overall, we've got the square footage, and you know, unless we do something drastic in terms of the interior, what's proposed, we don't need to worry about what's going on inside of this to make a decision. The building will be X number of square feet overall, and what happens inside of it is going to be defined later. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, there's still quite a bit of opportunity to fine tune the design. These are very rough schematics based on, the proposal and just.
So seeing their detailed thing here, detailed interior design is not going to really amount to anything. We decided on how big a footprint building we want, and the parking lot and everything else. So let's not get sidetracked trying to worry about whether an office should be 120 square feet or 200 square feet. It's just not relevant to the overall decision. To me, again, the only decision to be made, there's two of them. One, the fourth bay, and yeah, I'm like Councillor Foster, I would like to see something, and on what we gain, and then picking one of the two most favorable tenders that have been submitted. And let's not be worrying, both of these have, in fact, all four of them have identified that there are savings to be realized in putting together the final design of the building, for lack of a better term to use. Thank you.
Councillor Ron?
Councillor Yocum is somewhat right. There may be chances to save money with the design, but there's two bidders very close here. And there could be also an increase if we change the size. I'm looking at some of the areas Mr. Councillor Foster said about more room in the training room. By adjusting the walls, by cutting out offices, we may increase costs, not only decrease them, but there may be an increase. And that's why I'd like to look at it, the amount of square footage we're losing in one area, but we may be able to adjust and give to another. But there may be a cost to that, I don't know. But there's two contractors very close here.
I'm in, I'll tell you, in my mind, my opinion is that we would look at this, and if Lignum Builders fit the qualifications for getting the contract, I would much sooner see them get it, and we could work with them, because they're gonna be local, and we can do a lot of things in adjusting stuff or something else like that. Lignum Builders are going to employ town people, they're going to employ town contractors, and they're going to give work to our community. And if we keep fussing around, you realize that we're coming close to September now. So we have to make a decision here, or we're going to get a fire truck coming to our municipality, and we're going to have to store the damn thing outside. So, I don't know. Councillor Bill?
If you had a fourth bay right now, okay, there's two options with this project. One is you go with the projects as they're laid out and add a fourth bay right now and build it that way, or you go with a contractor that provides you with 3 bays now and is conducive to adding a fourth bay down the road. The fourth bay is critical with one of these things, okay, because from a future standpoint, if you don't put it in on one of these bids, it's going to be more difficult to do down the road.
I believe, in my opinion, I think the cost for adding another bay to the building 5 years down the road, I think is a costly operation, and costs are constantly going up. So we know that doing the fourth bay later could cost way more than $185,000. Go ahead.
If we do the fourth bay now, do we have to rip down the existing fire hall to make that happen? And what complications is that at?
Can you answer that for me, Brian?
We'd be able to build it to be really tight, but we could build it for sure.
Without affecting the other building?
Yes.
All right.
You need a fire hall to operate regardless, so we can't rip down one fire hall and start building without having a fire hall. So We wouldn't propose it if we couldn't.
Okay. Councillor Bachman.
Yeah, I think that applies to all of them. You're simply looking at the parking lot. The parking lot needs, there's obviously going to be room to build a new hall with the fourth bay in any of these cases, just looking at the parking. Look, I have a question for the fire chief, because I still think we're wandering all over the place, and we need to solve the number one thing, as far as I'm concerned, is to solve whether it's 3 or 4 bays. Council decided how many square foot they want this building to be. How it goes on inside can be decided later. There's maybe extra costs, but there's also opportunities for savings. So I have a question for the chief, if we can ask him. If I can ask the question for the fire chief.
Go ahead.
Mike, have you prepared a report on the shuttle service and what we would get with it?
Submitted to you a month or 2 months?
Yeah,
ago?
but
Yeah.
but you haven't tuned it up, because this really didn't. Is it this one? Ah, I figured.
My eyes are much better.
Yeah, well, join that in the crowd. That one?
Yes.
Okay, because we were looking for something a bit more detailed so that we could decide on this fourth truck. I would I think, okay,
I'm not quite sure what information you want. Another truck would double our capacity to haul water. So you're gonna have twice as much water at any fire that you attend, that we get called to. It's, more water the better. We have a failing rating with Fire Underwriter Survey in our municipality, outside our municipality. The only way those ratings can get improved is by adding equipment. That's the only way. So if we don't have a fourth truck or a third truck, then those ratings are not gonna improve. We, out of a scale of 5 out of 5, we had a 5. 5 being the worst for in-town protection, for protecting areas with hydrants. Outside of town where there's no hydrants, we had out of a scale of 1 to 10, we had a 9, 10 being the worst. The only way you can improve those ratings with Fire Underwriter Survey is to add a piece of equipment. That's the only way.
I'd like to see that in writing and detail why we're at 9, okay? That's the type of information that,
Fire Underwriter Survey was submitted 2 years ago to you, presented to you, and
Yeah.
all the documentation is there.
yeah, my understanding was because we had vehicles that were beyond the age,
And
okay?
that's another one, yes.
Okay, now if we had vehicles that were within the age, how would we have fared?
Well, it's only gonna get better.
Well, yeah,
They
but
don't
what,
recognize anything after 20 years old.
okay, so what was our fire rating when our vehicles were a little younger?
So what happened, in 2001, we had our last survey.
Yeah.
It was the previous survey. So we hadn't had one done in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, it got actually a little worse, but it still didn't put us in a failing grade. If we do, like, the only thing that's gonna keep us at that rating and not improve is, okay, we have a truck that we're gonna replace and keep that one truck at under 20 years. So our grade will stay the same, it won't improve.
Mm-hmm.
The only way it can improve is if we add another truck to better protect our community. It's,
Councillor Ron.
Improving the rate of the underwriters, does what helps people reduce their premiums on their homes? Or I'm not sure what.
so it gives the municipality a better grade rating. Now, how that is affected in your insurance,
Oh, okay.
you know,
No, I just wondered what.
it could, and not just homes, it could be commercial businesses and,
No, that's
and
right.
people, yeah, and if the
But we're not sure.
municipality has a better rating overall, you're probably gonna get a better insurance rating. That's the whole purpose of the rating system.
They have never stated that though. Like, there's no actual, like, when Bill's saying, like, if we could see something, we don't have anything in writing that says, yes, there will be a better rating on insurance. We're making that assumption because we're rated better. Yeah.
Well,
No, I
Yeah,
understand. No, I understand.
well, I don't know what their role is, but like, I don't know.
I don't. No,
All I know is that we're supposed to improve our rating, not decrease it, so.
Okay, we're pushing this around all over the place and we're not coming to any decision. We need to do that. I realize there's lots to talk about, but we can't spend the whole day here talking about the design build fire hall for whether.
Point of order, Your Honor.
Point
Point of order.
Pardon?
This is what we're here for. We're scheduled for an hour. If we want to ask questions, we're going to ask questions.
Right on.
This is a very big decision.
Okay.
Recall, everybody recalls here, this was delayed for over 2 years. Council had to push this to get this going. Now all of a sudden, we're worried about being in a hurry. We got a report here this morning, an email from one of the bidders that said they thought the building was going to go ahead in the spring. That was one of my thoughts, it might be better in the spring. But here nor there, that's not my decision. But that's why we're here.
All right.
That's the importance of this.
All right. Thank
And we
you.
delayed it a couple weeks to get all the answers, and these questions were asked. I never saw that report, that one on the tanker. I never saw that. I never got that. I don't know where that came from. But we had asked that question. I asked specifically a Mike a question. He hasn't answered me yet. So I'm going to put it,
Sorry, in regards to what?
it doesn't matter. You should have wrote it down when you were sitting there 2 months ago. When Bill asked the question, we haven't had those answers. We want something in writing. And that's what we're asking. We're not asking to argue. And I think a couple of weeks on a cost this much to the taxpayer and our decision would do no harm to get it right.
You're right.
That's my final.
Councilor Ron.
With that in mind, Your Worship, I'd like to table this motion for 2 weeks or so. We can pick a date maybe that's convenient to everyone.
Okay.
I know one of our councilors was unable to be here this morning. I saw where she said she had to work. I think she'd certainly like to be involved in the decision as being. No, you need a motion.
Do we rewrite this?
No, we can just.
We'll just, you can just
Deferring it.
So we can defer this for 2 weeks?
I defer, we want to pick a date. We should.
I
pick
think
a
we
date.
should defer to the 11th of September, just before our regular meeting, and we'll have it be more efficient.
In September, that'd be.
And that time,
That's only
our
2
first regular meeting in September, we have one, because we'll have all the questions at that time answered, and we'll have it just before our regular meeting. Or we can have it at our regular, we can have a motion at our regular meeting, we'll have all our
Okay.
answers, it won't take
All right.
long to answer that.
Defer till regular September meeting. So all in favor of deferring that to the regular meeting in September? Carried. Yes.
I just wondered if we could have a process for submitting those questions.
I'm sorry.
Did we have a,
If we could talk about a process for submitting these questions, like a date that everybody can have their questions submitted by.
Okay.
So that we can answer.
hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would it be possible, Cynthia, to have something similar in a smaller form, as I mentioned about the OPP questioning?
Just send
Have a contact person we send the questions to, and that person goes to the proper people to get the answers, then send it back to council?
Yeah.
Would that be complicated or simple as it can be?
That would be simple. and
That's what we should do.
Together, I could be that person to
Yeah.
get the
Okay.
questions back and forth.
Okay. All right, Carrie,
We can decide on a date to have the questions in by those, so that we can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, straight.
week before?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying, the week before?
yeah, that'd be good.
okay, Mike, you had a,
I'd just like to know the questions, because I'm pretty sure I answered all the questions that I received, so if I haven't answered the question, I may not have gotten it. But if I missed something, my apology, but I'm pretty sure I answered everything that was
I'll
answered.
send the question to Cynthia, and she'll get it to you.
yeah, Cynthia can share them with you, that's not a problem.
Yes.
All right, this, that's the meeting in council is